Hello and welcome to Prep Smart. So today we are going to discuss about the important news that came in the Indian Express Hindu on the date of 7th July. Okay, so these are the news that we are going to cover today. First is E25 ethanol blending issue. Then our Prime Minister Modi ji is in three-nation tour. So he is going to first visit Indonesia, followed by Australia and New Zealand. So that is what we are going to cover. Next, deploying of INS Mahendragiri. And then yesterday, that is 6th July, was 125th birthday of Shyama Prasad Mukherjee. We are going to discuss about him. And finally, we are going to talk about the discovery of the oldest fossil. Okay. So let us move to the first news of today, which is also the most important news of today. So recently, there has been a backlash observed all over the nation regarding the ethanol blending uh, that is government is planning to do. Basically, what is the context that the government had originally planned to launch E20, that is 20% blended ethanol by 2030. So this was the original target of government, but the sudden shift of ethanol from E10 to E20 recently, it created a backlash nationwide. Okay, so as you can see here in this particular image, in the year 2003, first E5 was launched in India, right? Which was basically talking about the early blending of ethanol. Now, what is this parameters first of all? What is E5? E10, E20, E25, what does all these things means? This basically talks about the percentage of ethanol that is present in a petrol. Okay, so E5 means it will be having 5% of ethanol and then rest 95% will be the petrol. Okay, so it is basically an ethanol blended petrol that has been used. So, and this is an initiative by the Ministry of Petrol. Okay, Ministry of Petrol and Natural Gases. Now, 2005 was the year when 5% ethanol was launched. 2003 was the year when 5% ethanol was launched, followed by 2022 when E10 was launched nationwide. Okay, so it was target in 2022 to upgrade ethanol to 10% ethanol in as a measure of renewable energy to decrease the carbon emission and also to reduce the reliance of the import of fossil fuels. Okay, because we know around 85% of crude oil in India is imported from outside. Okay, so to reduce that dependency, this initiative was taken to blend ethanol, and also because we know that India is a food surplus country, we have surplus production of grains. So the surplus food is also used for creating the ethanol. Now in 2026, the transition to ethanol 20 was mandated as the standard fuel. Okay, so from this year, E20 has been supplied in the petrol pumps as the standard fuel. And now government was trying to push E25, that is 25% blended ethanol in the petrol, but because of the use of the ethanol, till the point only 10% was used. There was not major concerns that was coming out in terms of mileage or the performance of the engines of the car. But just hurriedly, when it is moved to E20, there has been a significant droppage of the mileage or engine corrosion. Different news started to has come up. Okay, and that is why this particular news is coming all over the newspaper. Okay, so I hope now I am clear to make you understand what is the context going on. Now let us cover also some of the static points, right? So ethanol is a type of alcohol whose full name is ethyl alcohol and the chemical formula is C2H5OH. Okay, and the question comes, does only ethanol produced in the industry level? The answer is no. Okay, naturally ethanol is also produced from sugar sources. Okay, that can be cane, that can be maize, okay, or that can be any other sugar source. through the process of fermentation, ethanol is produced. Okay. And ethanol also comes under the category of the biofuels. Okay, biofuels means when we use biological substances to generate fuels instead of the conventional fossil fuels. Okay, fossil fuels are basically the petrol, diesel, all of these things we use. These are the fossil fuels. Biofuels are when you get the fuel out of any biological product. Now, under the biofuels also, there are certain generations of biofuel based on the what product we use to get the biofuel. If the food is used, directly food sources, staple grains are used, or cane is used to get the ethanol, that are the first generation biofuels. Okay. Now, first generation biofuels have many complications. Specifically, it talks about the food versus fuel debate. Okay, because although I already told you India is a surplus country in terms of food grains now, but still there are many people who are under poverty line, below poverty line. So in such a country, directly using food grains for generating fuel sometimes creates some debates. Okay, so that are the sources of first generation fuels. Then if second generation fuel, there the food and the agricultural waste sources are used, then that is called the second generation fuel. Similarly, if algae and seaweed is used, that is the third generation fuel. And if yeast, microalgae sources or biotechnology is used, that is the fourth generation fuel. So that is the static part we need to know regarding the biofuels as well as ethanol. Now, after this, we are going to talk a little bit about the mains perspective as well. Right? What are the advantages and challenges of ethanol blending? And then we will talk about what are the way forward we can look for. First of all, ethanol has a high octane number, right? The carbon emission is low, and also it cuts down the dependence on the fuel import. So that is why the scheme was proposed by the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gases to blend ethanol. But the challenges that has been recently faced, that is first of all, that it is leading to engine corrosion, because ethanol has a high hygroscopic nature. Okay. Now, what is a hygroscopic nature? Hygroscopic, anything hygroscopic means it attracts water. Attracts water. So, if it is attracting water, that is leading to the corrosion of the engines. Recently used engines in the vehicles are not suitable for 20% or more ethanol blended petrol usage. Okay, so that is why the engines are leading to corrosion. Secondly, this engine corrosion also leading to less mileage. Okay, less mileage is also obtained because of the ethanol blending. Okay, so lower calorific value. Ethanol has a lower calorific value. Calorific value means if you burn something and out of a particular substance, what amount of energy you get. So suppose you are burning 1 liter of petrol and 1 liter of ethanol blended petrol, say example E20. So 1 liter of petrol is giving you more calorific value, more energy, but 1 liter of ethanol blended petrol is giving you less calorific value, less energy, and that is resulting in the drop in the mileage. And we know in India, mileage is a very important value whenever we go to purchase any kind of car or any kind of two-wheeler. Okay, next, it also has higher ignition point, like more temperature is needed to ignite, and that becomes a difficulty point to start the engine during the mornings of the winter. So these are the some of the challenges till now that has been coming to the surface. Now, what could be the way forward? So these are the way forward that the government is thinking about and proposing to. First is, instead of directly shifting the ethanol blending from 10 to 20 to 25, they are thinking about a graded approach, and also proper testing of the suitability of the vehicles and the engines or the parts of the vehicles that is available. Are they suitable for using this ethanol blended petrols. Okay, so that is one of the major thing, testing and consultation, and consultation with all the stakeholders, those who are involved. And second is vehicle homologation. Now, what is vehicle homologation? This is basically a certification method. So once a vehicle has this particular certification, or if a company is producing certain vehicle and they are importing different parts of the vehicle, so if those parts of the vehicle has the certification that they are compliant with the regulations of safety, environment and roadworthiness, then buying those, purchasing those vehicles for the common people, for the citizen of India, will be much more helpful and economically friendly. Okay. The next important news is that India is going to commission its 6th indigenous project 17A stealth frigate, which is called Mahendragiri, at Visakhapatnam port on July 11. Okay, marking another major milestone in India's indigenous warship building program. Why indigenous? Because more than 75% of the parts of this particular vessel is made in India. Okay, so let us also cover a little bit about this particular vessel. First, this vessel was built in the Mazagaon Dock Shipbuilders in Mumbai. This could be important for your state PSC exams, like BPSC is also coming. Then after that, UPPSC will be there, RPSC will be there, West Bengal Mains is there. Okay, and also your SSC CGL is coming. So this type of points are very important for the upcoming exams. Second, the name is Mahendragiri, given on the mountain peak present in the Eastern Ghats in Orissa. Okay, so this is the first time that any INS, Indian Naval ship, is given the name of Mahendragiri, and it's on the peak of the Mahendragiri located on Orissa. It's the part of the Eastern Ghats. Okay, and from which particular port it will be commissioned? It is the Visakhapatnam. Please remember the name of the port, Visakhapatnam. Now, this is the image of the INS Mahendragiri. Now, next, some other points are that what are the weapons that will be attached with the INS Mahendragiri? Okay, so Mahendragiri is equipped with advanced stealth features, reduced radar signature, so it will be difficult to detect by the enemy vessel, enhanced survivability, and a high degree of automation. The more important thing is this is powered by a combined diesel or gas propulsion system. So it can use either diesel or gas in terms of when it is required. Okay, so the frigate is capable of sustained high-speed operation and long-range deployments across the full spectrum of maritime missions, because it can switch between the diesel and the gas. It can use used in high-speed operations, and it can go for the long-range operations also. Now, after this, we are also going to see what are the different vessels that has been commissioned under the 17th A stealth frigates. So this comes under the Nilgiri class. Okay, all of them, they comes under the Nilgiri class, because the first one was the INS Nilgiri, which was commissioned in 2025. Then after that, INS Udaygiri and INS Himgiri came together. Then INS Taragiri. The last one was launched last month only, INS Dunagiri. My question to you, can you tell me the name in which port INS Dunagiri was launched last month? Okay, and the recent one which is going to be launched on 11th July is INS Mahendragiri. Okay, after this, by the end of this this year, also the 6th and the last one is not 6th, actually 7th. So 7th or the last one of this particular frigate company is expected to be launched. Okay. Okay, now after this, next we are going to talk about yesterday, that is 6th July, was 125th birth anniversary of Shyama Prasad Mukherjee. Now, why Shyama Prasad Mukherjee is an important person for us? Okay, so he was the founding father of the Bharatiya Jansangha political party. Okay, And he was also the first Minister of Industry and Supply of the independent India. So these two are very important points in terms of your examination. First, he was the founder of Bharatiya Jana Sangha. He was also he was a son from West Bengal. Okay, so for the students who are preparing for West Bengal PCS, West Bengal mains, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee is a very important name. Okay, so he was a key architect of modern Indian political thought, remembered for his dedication to national integration. Okay, now regarding his 125th birth anniversary, the present Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mr. Subhendu Adhikari, he has declared about making a 125 feet long landmark statue of Syama Prasad Mukherjee in the Kolkata. Okay, so for that, the foundation stone was also being laid by the Home Minister Amit Shah at Eco Park, Newtown in Kolkata. Okay, so these are the points we should be remembering about Syama Prasad Mukherjee. And also, please remember the Kolkata port, the only riverine port, the only riverine major port in India, which is situated in Kolkata, is also known as Syama Prasad Mukherjee. Okay. Okay. Now, after this, next we are going to discuss about our Honorable Prime Minister is on 3-nation tour. So, as I have already told you in the beginning that he has arrived in Indonesia on Monday. After this, he is going to visit Australia, followed by New Zealand, and so the focus of this tour is basically to act on India's Act East policy and Mahasagar vision. So recently we know that the news is that every day we are covering, India is specifically focusing a lot on its Act East policy and the Mahasagar vision. Recently there was also the 16th summit with Japan, right? And before that also there was our Prime Minister visited another nations like Malaysia and Seychelles. So there also the talk about Act East policy and Mahasagar vision was very much prominent, right? So these two policies I would be saying is very important for you to know for this year's 2027 UPSC prelims examination and also all other examinations that has been scheduled. So Act East policy is basically where India is focusing on the nations of Southeast Asia and the Asia Pacific, whereas the Mahasagar vision is basically not only restricted to Asia Pacific or the Southeast nation, but it's a global vision, okay, where India is promoting the maritime security and also by promoting bilateral trade. Okay, so first point that we're going to talk about is the bilateral partnership between Indonesia and India. So this was the first bilateral visit to Indonesia since the elevation of ties to a comprehensive strategic partnership in 2018. And during his visit, Prime Minister visited two very important places. First, he visited the Prambanan temple, which is located in the Yogyakarta, very near about to Yogyakarta, which is a place in Indonesia, and this is considered as the largest Hindu temple in Indonesia. Okay, Prambanan temple. And secondly, he also to him a particular form of culture of Indonesia has been demonstrated, which is known as the wayang kulit, which is basically a type of shadow puppetry, which is very famous in Indonesia. It depicts the stories of Ramayana, and regarding this, our Prime Minister has also talked about the cultural integration, symbolism, and the coherence we share with Indonesia. Okay, so in terms of international relation, these all newses are very, very important. Next. Okay, so this will be our last news that we are going to cover today from Science and Tech. So recently from European Space Agency, there is a space telescope which is called the Euclid. It has observed 31 ancient quasars. Okay, 31 ancient quasars have been found. You can see the photo also here. Now, what is important for us to know is that what is a quasar? Okay, so quasar is basically extremely bright energetic source of light coming from distant galaxy. So it is not in our galaxy, it's coming from the distant galaxy, and it is the most brightest source of light in the entire universe. Okay, it is, again I am saying, it is the brightest source of light known in the entire universe. Now, how it is getting such amount of energy that it is becoming the most illuminating source, right? So it is taking its energy from a nearby supermassive black hole. Okay, so the matters spiral in near the black hole, and that creates a superheated accretion disk that can outshine the entire galaxy. And what is also very like important to know, before this, the quasars that has been discovered were around 20 million years old, but the recent one, the 31 quasars that has been found, two of them are dating back to 630 billion years back, which is basically a very primitive form when the galaxy was created. Okay, our universe was created. So that is why this is also very important for us to know that what is a quasar. Now, regarding this, I would also like to tell you that please revise the different type of stars that is there, like nebula. What is a nebula? What is a pulsar? What is a quasar? Okay, what is a red giant? Okay, what do you understand by Chandrasekhar limit? Chandrasekhar limit. Okay, in the black hole, what are the different structures of black hole? What is the accretion disk? Accretion disk. Okay, or what is jet flow that is coming out of black hole? What is event horizon? What is event horizon? What is singularity? Okay, why I'm telling you all these terms? Because all of these terms are very important for our UPSC preliminary examination. If you see the previous year question, you will see in the science and tech portion, this type of questions are asked, and mostly in the form of match the column. Okay, so please revise all this thing, and if you want me to revise this particular part of science and tech, please let me know in the comment. I will be happy to cover that in the upcoming videos. Okay, so this will be for today's news paper coverage. I am trying to keep it short as possible, still as comprehensive as possible. Okay, because I know when we prepare for the examination, we are running against the time, right? So if these videos are helping you, please consider joining our Telegram channel, Prep Smart. There every day after the video comes, I will be posting the link. Also, if you just subscribe this channel, that will also mean great to me. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.